Welcome to COVID-19 Local Impact Ottawa Valley. I'm Trevor Riley, here to take a look at the COVID-19 situation here in the county. The latest update as of April 3rd had no new reports of confirmed cases as well as no new deaths. Total tests sit at 419 and an increase in negative tests coming in at 249, which is an increase of 33. We are currently awaiting the results of 163 tests. In Ontario, the numbers went up by 462, bringing it to a total of 3,255. That's a 16% increase from the last report. 67 deaths were reported at the 10:30 a.m. update for April 3rd. On today's program, we are going to be speaking with the two men behind Valley Eats, an app that is bringing home delivery to local businesses and communities throughout Renfrew County. And during this time, when you can't get into a restaurant, it's becoming the best way to shop local. This app allows businesses to provide delivery. In some cases, maybe they didn't before, but we'll get into that later. Kind of what's been the information you guys have been getting on the ground floor? You guys talk to a lot of businesses. How are they feeling? What are you guys hearing about their affections from COVID-19?
The big thing for the restaurants is they got hit, right? As soon as they couldn't do any more in-house dining. That's a lot of sales lost. And the good thing is a majority of the restaurants were able to adapt to the need. And what we saw stores changing their hours based on what is still going to work. So now we have, our delivery time frame window, for instance, it's shortened now. It used to be from 10 to 10. Now it goes from 10 to 9. And the restaurants have shifted from being open from, 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night to being available from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock at night, because they're seeing that when they made that shift, they were still able to generate revenue to help keep things going in the store. One example would be the Nelson Street Pub. The Nelson Street had actually shut down for a whole week. And then after conversing with Corey, and, he brought up some time frames, and we said, these times will work for you. And as soon as he adjusted and adapted, he saw that he was able to kind of keep things going a little bit. And I think that's been the majority of restaurants have been able to adapt and see that. And, we can't help every restaurant, and we can't make it work for every restaurant, but I think the option that is now available to the customers to still get the food and still support the local restaurants did help kind of generate the increase in volume for the restaurants, right?
Now, one of the other questions I wanted to ask, there's been, like you said, you can't help everybody, but has there been a couple of businesses that have reached out that you can think of that didn't offer delivery but have come to you? I know we were talking before the interview, some of the markets that aren't in the system yet are reaching out and wanting to be involved with Valley Eats. Now, that's good for business, but it's also showing that need that maybe that wasn't there before. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we said, because we've been in Pembroke and Petawawa for a good year now, and thankfully we have a lot of great partners with our restaurants. It's the new markets that have really been the ones that are like, we need this service in our area, and that's where I think we've been able to help, because we didn't plan on adding new markets this year, initially. Carleton Place was our only new market, but now we've seen the influx of people seeing the need for the service right now. And, we're doing everything we can to help those markets and get open as quickly as we can, still maintaining, what we do as a business and kind of our level of expectation, if you will. That's where we've seen it is, the influx of new people, new markets that have wanted to basically join the bandwagon and figure out how can they get the service in their area. I don't think we've had one locally
who offered no delivery previously.
Yeah, that wasn't already with us already before this all happened.
Well, that's not true.
That is not true. There is actually one that we're currently working with to see if we can get them up and rolling. That definitely did not offer delivery before, but I'm sure you'll hear about it from us shortly in the app anyways.
Now, it will remain anonymous.
Yes.
Now, in a time where a lot of unfortunate things are happening where businesses are laying employees off. This is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, it's actually resulting in you guys actually having to hire people, doing interviews over the phone.
Yes, the influx of hiring. It's weird that this caused us to be able to hire more, but as soon as it happened, the influx in hiring from drivers to just dispatchers, we needed to fill in holes and positions to maintain a flow of what we were doing, because our influx was so large that we had to be able to react and adapt quickly to getting more, great drivers on board, more good dispatchers, because the dispatchers, aside from our driver, are a very key point to how the whole service works. And getting someone up and trained and going in a very short period of time, definitely a challenge, but yes, it did create employment opportunities for the area.
Welcome back. We continue our talk with Ryan and Dan of Valley Eats, and we get into the discussion around driver and customer safety.
We did actually create a policy for our drivers to help limit the contact with customers. Our restaurants we're also working with too, where most restaurants are now just running with 1 or 2 cooks in their cook, so it's limited staff, right? It's limited contact with what's happening. And from our drivers' point of view, is as soon as we decided to go contactless, we had to find it important that we were able to give kind of step-by-step instructions, which we are almost every day adjusting to make it even better. But ultimately, it comes down to the drivers. They stay away from each other when they're in restaurants. So restaurants have kind of designated areas for our drivers to go into. They limit the interaction with the staff at the restaurant. The hand sanitizing, the hygiene washing part, right? We've asked all drivers to have hand sanitizers with them in their vehicle, and during every interaction, they're to maintain that, the hand sanitizing or hand washing rule. And then again, when it gets to the customer, the food is left in front of their door, or whatever it is that needs to be left in, and our drivers are asked to step away so that the customer can then get their food without having that interaction. Definitely adapting for that has been a challenge, because one of our key beliefs in our company was that interaction with the customers and our drivers, making them happy and making it part of what they did every day. That, I think, was a little bit difficult for us to then say, no, don't interact with the customer anymore. Just leave the food. And
sort of something we always drive into our couriers is, customer service, be cheery, we're just there to make everyone happy kind of thing is a lot more difficult now. But I think, to reassure people, it really is, it's a limited staff at the restaurant. There are obviously no public guests inside for dine-in. The drivers are kept at a distance from each other. The restaurants only allow certain people in at a certain time. The food is in a designated area away from other people. The driver takes the food, so they're the only, the restaurant packaged it, the driver takes it, you arrive at the destination, you leave the food, in touch with the customer, they back away 6 feet, make sure the customer's taking the food, and then even when the customer takes inside, this is something we're starting to try and educate our customers on how to properly handle that now, right? We should, we got to take the food out of the packaging, they recommend now warming up the food, getting rid of the packaging, sanitizing the area, and then washing your hands before eating.
Now, finally, wanted to kind of round out, you guys are big supporters of shopping local, buying local, and supporting local. Kind of how important is it right now that we support the businesses, that are still able to be open and offer food, offer meals, offer anything if they're local? How important is it in a time like this to make sure that that's where we're spending our money when we can?
It's super important, and I gotta say, I think one of the things Dan and I have been, super happy with from a customer standpoint is we saw a drastic shift in what type of orders were happening as soon as this came. We saw a massive change to everybody ordering from locally owned restaurants. Now, we're not saying, people aren't still ordering from Hargis and Wendy's. These are still locally owned businesses, with people locally working at them. but the change to just really going after the mom pa restaurants.
Having less franchise orders.
Yeah, it's been very exciting to see the people shift to help support those people, right? It's been great.
But, you know, it's super critical. I mean, you know, a lot of these restaurants, well, I would say all of the restaurants have huge overhead. They employ a lot of people, huge rent costs, you know, they're scared.
Yeah.
Now, we have all been missing sports, and the Ottawa Senators, among many teams, have not been on the ice for a few weeks now. Your TV's Clark Heupel spoke to Ottawa Senators forward Nick Paul over Skype on Wednesday.
What's happening on your day-to-day routine with not being able to be on the ice?
You're looking at it right now. I've just been staying inside. My girlfriend's got a couple dumbbells here on the floor, but I've been just using those, getting some workouts in. I've been doing she had like some workouts on the computers. I don't know what it's called, like some P90X stuff. It's crazy hard, way harder than I thought. But yeah, it's just it's been good. I've been working out, doing little workouts. We got a little pup now, so we've been taking him out for a couple hours a day, walking him, running him, and yeah, I'm just basically sitting around the house after that, just trying to stay safe and stay inside.
What's the uncertainty like? I know you're used to routine, being on the ice, so this is a big change.
Yeah, I'm definitely not used to this. I'm the type of person that's always get up and go and have a schedule. It's been really weird just sitting around and waiting inside and doing nothing really. Watching a lot of Netflix. The Tiger King there, just finished that one the other day with a flick. And yeah, just trying to stay in shape with the weights and everything and see what happens. Obviously, this coronavirus is really came out of nowhere.